Samuel Aziz, salam alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
It's great to see you, bro. Thank you for having me. It's been some time since we last spoke, around about 6 months or so, and the reason I wanted to come back and talk to you again is I really learned a lot the first time we spoke, although it was a slightly different conversation. At the time you were primarily focused on wealth consulting, which was, helping people like myself, e-commerce business owners, and also people in other industries become more tax efficient, set up their companies, learn more about private processing. And it seems like since then you've discovered some more opportunity in the market and even been presented the opportunity yourself, or created your own opportunity to now go into the realm of private processing and even building a bank with a fantastic name as well, Ihsan. So maybe you could tell me a little bit about like where that inspiration came from, how you spotted that opportunity and how you're building something different.
Yeah, so I mean it's probably 5 or 6 months already, and I mean you always need to level up non-stop. And I learned over the last years that most people stop anyways. So the more high level you are, and it's really true, it's lonely at the top, but it's not an issue.
Nice view though.
It's a nice view here from the office, lonely at the top. It's more quiet if it's lonely. Most people just stop basically. I mean, I'm in business now for more than 10 years. And most business partners and clients that I met who made a few million, they were just out. Because they achieved their main goal, whatever. I have a supercar, I have a villa, I have all the status. And there are only a few who really constantly level up. And I feel I do that, and I just can't imagine any other way. Because me personally, I think with religion, with health, with family, with business, it's more easy if you are detached from a certain result. And you do it anyways because it's a habit and you like to do it and you want to do it forever. And that's why we have the Islamic company principles, because it's way above us. It's even longer than our life, and it's a reminder that even if we achieve everything here in this life, there's also a hereafter. So it's already a long-term goal. And I feel that if you are blessed by Allah with abilities, so you are intelligent, you are able to earn money. Not everybody is intelligent, that's what you learn in life, it's how it is. And then you really need to use it, because everything in this world is based on money, in this system. And there are too many people with negative intentions, and that's why the intentions are another principle of us. And the people with the right intentions, they should have more money, because you can actually do good things. So money is just a tool. The issue is that a lot of people with the real money, they use it for wars, for negative propaganda, basically accelerating the end times. But the people with the right intentions, if they have money, you can do beautiful things. It's some time ago I paid off the house for my parents. It's something nice. Or you do a charity. Today we were planning a charity here. And you see that with this type of money, in 1 second you can basically solve all the problems from some people, because it is how it is. 50% of all problems are related to money. Divorces are because of money, but maybe these people should divorce anyways, but that's the #1 reason for divorces. People are starving because no money. People don't achieve their goals because of no money. People have anxiety because of this. And if you use it right, you can do a lot of good things. You can give possibilities to the best people. I realize there are so many great humans out there, but the problem is they are lost, because most of us don't have a direction in life. And if I give them a direction, for example, in one of our companies, these people can build a really good life, which they otherwise wouldn't have. Otherwise, they would be in a boring, nonsense job without any future, without any vision. So money in the hand of right people can do great things. And to boil it down with what we do right now here with these companies is basically building a community of righteous people to have real influence. I mean, real influence. So there's no time to calm down, and I never calm down.
So that's what you've kind of been focusing on. Would you say, is it last 12 months maybe, or less than that?
Focus on what exactly?
Like actually transitioning away from, I guess, what you were doing previously at wealth consulting, and now building or working towards building a bank with core values that you align with, like the Islamic principles over there.
Yeah, so I feel that I developed every single day, and this is nice that in business, even if it takes longer sometimes, and you have all the hardships, and this is another value of us, to stay on the right path, no matter what. That's why we say we are istikamas, the ones who stay on the right path. And the challenges are the only way to level up, basically. Doesn't matter if it's in Islam, you only level up through the challenges. In business, you only level up through the challenges. The real friendships, real business partners are not the bros that you meet and you hang out. The real ones are where you go through the hardest periods in life for many years because you can rely on this person. So hardships are the best. And in business, these hardships build you, build your personality. And I feel there just can't be a point where you stand still. Either you develop, how they say in bodybuilding, muscles, use it or lose it. And that's in business. That's 100% the case in business. So I feel like every month I have new goals and already planned the new steps. And this should happen automatically. Why? Because with every month, maybe not that you always earn more money, but you have either you gain more money or more experience, so your mindset grows automatically. And normally in the long run, both happens, usually. At the end, it's written what we achieve in life, and we just need to focus on the daily habits. That's why I just always eat clean, always go to the gym, but I don't have any bodybuilding goals anymore, but my body is always in shape because I just follow these habits, and I feel the same as in business. As long as I do the daily work, I don't need to have panic attacks. Oh, now I didn't achieve this. So I have it, to be honest, but I don't need to stress myself too much because I knew today, that's how I always see every day. I stopped with long to-do lists, with everything. I think today is the last day and I need to achieve everything that I can imagine today, but I just focus on the daily tasks. And the long-term outcome, this is up to Allah. The same like you have children, but you can't choose if they are born healthy or unhealthy, basically. So I can just focus on my daily to-dos, which means a business needs to grow. A business can't stay the same. And that's why I'm always promoting the idea of, when we are talking about e-commerce, you just can't do the same nonsense that all these people do anymore. Yes, it works right now, but not long term. You need to build a proper business. And if you have a proper business, even then there will be even more competition. So you constantly need to level up. And I feel that we started in the fitness industry, first with fitness coachings, then later we transitioned to e-com. And it worked because I wanted to do the work anyways, because I love fitness. This was my life. Like the only thing I thought about when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old was gym, nutrition, supplements. So it was easy for me to contact all the affiliates because it was my dream anyways to work with these bodybuilders and these fitness influencers, to create good training nutrition plans because I was thinking every single day about how can I improve my training and nutrition plan. And then over years, of course, you get bored. And this is nothing bad because you should grow. And then we transitioned basically and planned the bigger steps. And it needs to happen automatically because when you make a lot of money, a lot of profit, you need to do something with this money. You can keep some cash on your bank account, but there comes a period of time where you ask yourself, what do I do now? Do I invest in real estate? Do I invest in other businesses? Do I want to buy another business? So again, you need to level up basically. And what we did in e-commerce for the first 4 years, and we can talk about it in length later on, we bought competitors, we bought SEO blogs, traffic sources, other supplement companies, manufacturing. And then there was the question with my business partner. I have one main business partner for many years. And in some businesses we are together, in some businesses we are not together. But it's all one ecosystem basically. And then was the question, what is the next step? And that's why I always believe that if you do the right things, and it also helps if you sometimes think you can give your life in the hands of Allah, or you can say God in other religions. Sometimes you get signs in life. That's at least what I always, but you need to be open to the signs. It doesn't come to you all of a sudden out of nowhere. It's even the whole revelation of the Quran didn't come out of nowhere. It was because our Prophet ﷺ, he was in a cave every single day until this revelation comes. So you need first to be open for this guidance. So I was just focusing, as always, on the businesses, planning the next steps, and waiting, because I really take it serious. I take dreams serious. I take science serious. Not believing in some voodoo, like some Bali host believing in spiritual and everything will come to you, but just looking for some signs sometimes and be open to it. And there was one friend, Nadim. By the way, I never shared this, so Nadim, if you're watching it, thank you. He said, bro, you have all the money. Open a Swiss bank. I have one friend. He opens Swiss banks. And at this time, I looked at, and that's what I always do, and this is always a good task, what do you actually do every single day? What do you really think where you're good at? It helps you in business. Also, if you have business partners, yes, you can just say, hey, I'm the CTO, I'm the CFO, I'm the COO, I'm the CEO, but it needs to be clear for everybody what's actually your strength, where you can really create value. And in all companies, I always did the banking and the payment processing. This was always my part. Banking, payment processing. And of course, that's why we started wealth consulting, which is another chapter in this period. But just to go to this bank idea, when already wealth consulting was working, and we of course got the feedback that a lot of people needed bank account opening, and I just referred to our banking connections. And then the sign came from the friend who has the right intention and always wants the best for me. And the more money you have, the more you realize most people around you don't want the best. They just want to squeeze something out of you, especially in a capitalistic city. And then I talked to this Swiss banker, or this guy who sets up Swiss banks. And since then, this thought was implemented. Like in the movie Inception. Once this idea is implemented, you won't lose this idea. And I talked to this guy, and he said, look, these are the requirements. You need around 25 million Swiss francs. You need a good business plan. You need experienced bankers, many things which I didn't have at this time, at least not. And it's not just the 20 million Swiss francs. They are running costs, a bank, until it's really profitable. You need experience. So it took a long time to be ready for this step, which is the case now. But since then, the idea was implemented. And the beautiful thing is, if you stick to your ideas and to your principles, it can become true. And even if it doesn't become true, you're anyways happy, because you can follow your ideals and your goals, and you're not enslaved in the matrix. And this is where the happiness comes from. A lot of people, and probably a lot of viewers, think now, oh, if I would also have whatever, this nice suit, this nice car, this nice office, this, then I would be more happy. But this won't be the case. This is all just empty material garbage. But what makes you happy is that you make the progress and you believe, even if you will never be billionaire, even if this bank wouldn't be $1 billion company, I wouldn't change the world, to just do it would make me the same happy. And so a lot of different steps. Where do we start?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. And I think the thing that I appreciate about you is your values. And I like how you've put on the wall the 5 Islamic principles, and you've even named the bank after Ihsan. And you were explaining those to me earlier about just moving with integrity, with purpose, with excellence. And I think the way that you've kind of combined all of that, built a plan out of it, and something that you've been patiently working towards as well. Like you said, there was a lot of things that you needed to get in place to be able to execute on this, and it's been almost like a long-term vision and something that you're working towards. So it's been nice to hear about your journey and I guess the steps that you've taken to get there and where your experience is. What I found interesting was that you said your strength has always been in like banking and payment processing, and these are things that a lot of people don't really truly understand, I think, because when we first spoke on the podcast on my channel that you came on, I guess around about 6 months ago or so, maybe 5 months, that was what a lot of my questions for you were about. Like, how do I get private processing? How does it work? Why is it different to fintech? And I think given that you had your experience in that industry, you were able to provide a lot of value at the time, and open my eyes to that side of the world and see how things actually work. Because to me, a bank was a bank. A company here is the same as a company there, but actually it comes with a lot of different, how would you say it, variables, I guess, as to why you might choose one over the other. So I think you're in quite a unique perspective where you have this knowledge and experience, and it's a strength of yours to then be able to take all of that, look at what the competition are doing in terms of like banking and private processing, align it with your core Islamic principles and values, and then bring something different to the market that is actually completely different to what everyone else is doing, but also just actually moving with excellence and filling in all of the gaps, not just doing the job, not just providing the bank account, but actually providing something that meets over expectations, like over delivering, which I think is probably something you did with your e-com store as well, you know, when you were building it out, when you were thinking of the strategies. So I see these things in all of the things that you've done align, and it's nice to see that you're now doing it as something that's innovating. E-commerce is e-commerce. We're selling stuff online. It's fun. You know, I enjoy doing it as well. I have an e-commerce business and I'm e-com through and through, but I'm not innovating. I'm not doing anything higher than myself. And that seems like that's the big step that you've taken now, is like finding your true purpose and your happiness. You always have a big smile on your face anytime I see you, and I can tell you're happy. And I'm sure it comes with its stresses and its hardship, but like you say, I think you said it yourself, the fulfillment comes from the hardship. As a man, you have to go through trials and tribulations. That's what makes you who you are. If something is given to you and not earned, it means nothing. All these material things, they mean nothing. You know, it doesn't mean anything, but to have purpose, to have fulfillment, and to make a change in the world and align it with your core values and know that you're ultimately doing good. Like you said, I think you said you paid off something for your mum. Similar for me, that was a goal for me, to retire my mum so she doesn't have to worry about these things, to do good for other people. That makes me feel good. Not driving this car or that car or buying this watch. That's a false happiness for 5-10 minutes. It's momentary, but the things that you're able to give to people and the change that you're able to make, in a lot of senses, or a lot of times, that's everlasting. You know, and I think that's what I've enjoyed learning about you and hearing about what you're building, and it's very inspiring.
Yeah, and I also feel that, of course, for the team and people around you, it's more inspiring to work towards a big vision.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we always need to see where are we at right now. So for everybody who does business, which are almost all of our viewers. And I feel business is like a sport. And let's say when I started in bodybuilding, I just listened to the gym bro trainer who told me Monday chest, Tuesday back, Wednesday shoulders, Thursday arms, Friday legs, until I realized, okay, this is not good, I can do it better, but you need to start. And I feel this is the same in business. In the first years, you need to do low entry barrier businesses. You can't innovate anything because you don't even know the basics of business. You don't know anything. And that's why I always feel that coaching, I think there are too much of the social media agencies now, but e-commerce, these are valid businesses which will always work. And this is the best entry. And you shouldn't do it for a short period of time. I mean, we always need to hope that we have a long life, so you can just dedicate 5 years to it. Because you see, we have a lot of clients who are young, who make a lot of money in e-commerce, and it's insane. And I didn't believe that this is possible, that you have so many even 20, 21-year-olds printing millions.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's also luck, especially in the first 1 or 2 years of business. The other person is maybe the same amount of talented, but he bought the social media marketing agency coaching instead and follows a business model which is not that great. He follows a worse strategy. But if he stays on track, he will understand this later on anyways. So the short-term results are always based on luck. But if you stay in a certain niche, in a certain industry for a long period of time, you achieve mastery. And this is the point where it's almost impossible to not be successful. But this only works if you commit to it for a long period of time. You can't think too far, too early. Maybe there are a few. Maybe there was a Steve Jobs and an Elon Musk where you look at them and you think everything worked smoothly and perfectly. But we are all born in a different body, in a different role in this world. And there are people who are born in a villa in Monaco with rich parents, and maybe it's a punishment for them because they have nothing in life to look forward to, that they want to achieve. And maybe there are people born in a slum where you smell the shit of your neighbors and you don't have any possibilities in life. You don't have a school. You need to clean shoes and cars when you're 4 years old. But maybe that's your biggest blessing. And that's how we need to see life. But I feel the only way to make sure, and I think both of these examples, they can come to Dubai, for example, or set up a US LLC, Hong Kong Limited, learn English, do business. So, and if maybe the person which started in the slum would have it harder in the beginning, but if this person sticks to it, and if this person just has more motivation, you can also achieve mastery. So I think the easiest step is to stay in one industry for a long period of time, achieve mastery, then you know everything that you can do. And then business is not something you need to learn anymore. It's, you know the steps. You can even almost calculate what you will achieve in 3 months and 6 months. In the beginning in business, it's all assumptions. You don't really know what will work. I just need to make something work, basically. And that's what you should do first in a simple business, which you can learn from people, for sure. And you can learn e-commerce, you can learn agencies, you can learn coaching. This is the must. The same like the example in bodybuilding. And once you became, the goal should be to become the best. This is Ihsan, excellence, not fulfill your responsibility. Become the number one. And the beauty is, if you stick to something for such a long period, you will realize by yourself that these people are around for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but they are not around for 10 years. They're out of business. And if you stick to it, you can become the industry leader, the industry giant, and then you have a real business. And then you can decide what you want to do. And then if you want to build $1 billion business, then it's actually possible, because now you have the money, you have the experience, you are a completely different person, which means if you need investors, people with $1 billion, they trust you because you have the track record, and track record never lies. That's what I learned in life. And you can always rely on the track record of a person. So now it's actually possible for you. And that's what I told you before with the bank, why I didn't do it earlier. Number one, there was not enough money. Because a Swiss bank is 25 million Swiss francs. To have the perfect agency to build one of the best app solutions for you, it's around $20 million. But I also didn't feel, some time ago, that I'm on this level yet. I was not in a $1 billion mindset. I became a millionaire because of my $1 million mindset. So I needed to change my mindset, basically, to a new level. And I needed more knowledge, more experience. And that's also what we gained with wealth consulting. The issue is if you just make assumptions, what the market needs. And it's good, because for me it always helped that we only build companies. Doesn't matter if it was the nutrition plans, the supplements, wealth consulting, the company setups, the residency, the banking, payment processing. I did each of this business because I needed it first. So I built a solution for myself. I felt the pain by myself. But I also allowed the market to approve that it's not just me and how big the need is. And if you want to build $1 billion companies, the easiest way is to change 1 billion lives. So you need scale, you need influence. And wealth consulting allowed us to push out all the services and solutions where I've built my in-house team, because when we started, we already had the team. We are here in Dubai, we have Hani, we have our team for UAE residency, because I needed it anyways, because I couldn't work with all these agencies. I didn't want to rely on them. I've already invested 6-7 years solving payment processing solutions. I already had the best private bankers for high-level banking, so I already had all of this, and now I just needed to see where's the gap in the market, what does the market really need, and that's what wealth consulting showed us. And it's anyways one circle. You just can't offer only one solution in this industry. Because with private processing, to apply and to get approved for private processing, you need good bank statements, which means you need a proper bank, you need a good company set up, so you need all the things that wealth consulting does. And even for the bank that we are building at the moment, we are only doing corporate banking for the first 2 to 3 years, because we are registering for the banking license in Hong Kong and in the US, and you can be only active in the jurisdiction where you have your license. But if people have a Hong Kong Limited, a US LLC, you can basically onboard people from all over the world. So again, you also need the wealth consulting to do this properly. So it's all one circle. And I really feel that for e-commerce, we've built this. And later on, we will scale even more. That's the goal, to have real impact on the world. Mm-hmm. And then later on, we want to do B2C, that every righteous person in the world has the Ihsan card to use it on the daily life, to have 50 million, 100 million user. But again, this is then, we can only start with it in 3 years or something. So that's the easiest way. If you have such a long-term plan that you anyways can't stop. The issue is sometimes it takes time. 10 years ago, I listened to this Grant Cardone books, be obsessed or be average, and you need to have such a crazy vision that people think you're crazy. And I thought, no, bro, I just want some money now, I don't need this billion-dollar vision. So I think it's also a process. And in this process, most people leave, and a few stay. And this few can build something big. And that's what we want to do, and that's how you just can't be uninspired. It's impossible. You want to do everything that you have, and you don't care about anything else anymore. That's also the beauty. Once you check these boxes, everything that you wanted to do, like I had all these personal dreams, I want these watches, I want Lambo, I want this G63, I want real estate. Once you've done all of this, there's nothing else. And then, that's the issue. In capitalistic places, most people stay in this circle. And at the same time, I found Islam, because I didn't want to stay in this circle, to only think materialistic. Until I became a millionaire, I really thought money is everything. And this helped, because it helped me to stay laser focused. Like, I don't care about hobbies, I don't care about this, I just need to focus on the business. But then you need to figure out, now do I want 20 Lambos? It doesn't bring you anything anymore. And then you need to transition, basically. And it's also a perfect time to transition, because you already have the things that money can buy, and it's okay. We all want to enjoy our life. It's all good. But then I think this is a good time to transition. Or the other possibility, we have a lot of people who were entrepreneur before, and they just started to work for us because they directly realize, fuck off, I have no motivation anymore to make something small, which is basically also just for me to fulfill my needs. I can also be part of your big vision and just earn more with it, because also entrepreneurs there are few people on the Forbes list who are the richest people in the world who are not the founder. A few employees of Google, YouTube, Facebook, they are on the Forbes list of the richest people, and they are not, again, the CEO, they are not the founder, they just have a good position there. And this is a valid way. And if I would be now young, I would do this probably, because all these years of doing small things and so on and not knowing much, I wouldn't repeat it. But that's why I say everybody has his own path, and that's why you need to focus on yourself only.
Yeah, I think you explained perfectly why now, or why is the right time for you right now, just based on your experience and I guess everything you've also done at Wealth Consulting. Like you said, you did the company setups, you did the tax efficiency, help people come out to Dubai, the banks, the private processing, and I guess during all of that you were able to uncover maybe some inefficiencies in some of the existing systems, because I know it myself, I tried using a payment processor here in Dubai, and I was trying to accept high ticket payments from overseas, Europe, the UK, US, and any time these payments were trying to go through, their bank would automatically decline it. They then had to call their bank to try and get the payment to go through. So for them as a customer, it's frustrating. For me as a service provider or someone trying to accept the payment, it's frustrating because it just adds friction. And as you know from e-commerce, you just want to remove all the friction from the buyer journey. You want everything to be seamless. And I don't think that there is a solution, at least to the best of my knowledge, in Dubai at the moment where it is seamless. So what I had to do was go overseas, open a bank account in the US and use US-based payment processors. So even from myself, in the limited knowledge I have just as a customer trying to use an online payment processor, I'd imagine you, having done it for hundreds of people, different businesses, different industries, have much more of a bird's eye view on the industry and how it's currently operating and where there are many more inefficiencies aside from the ones that I've just mentioned there. So maybe you could share some of those. It'd be really insightful to know like what the current problems are and maybe how you're going to obviously deal with those when you start to enter the market of corporate banking.
Yeah, so with wealthconsulting.com, we cover the basics, right? The company setups, and we give a clear direction. And then I thought, where can I create the most value? What was actually, if I would choose, the biggest pain point of me ever in business? And as I said, these were the two things: banking, payment processing, especially if you make more money. In the beginning, it shouldn't be a big pain point. In the beginning, your pain point is probably fulfillment. How do I get clients? Yep. The competition, I don't make money, I'm not profitable. But later on, if you build a proper business, almost everybody struggles with it, almost everybody. And with payment processing, because we have a lot of e-com business, some are low risk, some are medium risk. If you were even high risk, and high risk doesn't mean it's illegal or unethical, they're just, even if you sell worldwide, it's already considered high risk. Or if you scale too fast, it's considered high risk. And in so many businesses, we had issues with payment processing. And I really felt that there was a time where I spent just 8 hours per day trying to find a payment processing solution. And I realized there are basically just two solutions out there. And number one, there are payment aggregators, which are Stripe, Shopify payments, and so on. And I'm not necessarily saying they are bad. There's a reason why they are so huge, why they're one of the biggest companies in the world now, because they are scalable, and most people use it because the onboarding is extremely fast, easy. It's here's the login, upload your documents, you can get started basically. If you use Stripe with a UAE company, it gets blocked faster. If you use it with a US LLC, it's more stable. And this is the best starting point. The issue is, what most people do in business, they manipulate themselves and they take the wrong risks, which means they don't have any backup. And that's what most e-commerce entrepreneurs do. They don't have a payment processing backup. What would be a proper backup? A different solution. So payment aggregators, how they work, I just try to explain it as simple as possible, not to speaking technical Chinese here on this channel. Basically, these payment aggregators, they get a master MID, merchant ID, under an acquiring bank. So they have a payment processing account, and they just give you basically like a login to their own payment processing account. And this makes it so easy, because they have their one account, they have strict requirements from the bank, and they just work on the tech part. That's why the tech part and the integrations, why it's all great, and why they took over, because it's scalable. It's easy scalable. The issue is they have strict requirements from the banks, and they can't risk their own master account. And their policy is, if there's a red flag, and most of you know this or heard about this, block these idiots and that's it. Not hating, just saying how it is. You can read it in the policy. Also fintech banks. It's just like block and that's it. And that's why most of you, once you get blocked or once there's money on hold, you don't get a proper explanation. It's just like, boom, that's it. That makes it more scalable for them. But it means for you that the start is nice, but every single second, every single day, this can happen to you out of nowhere. And there was a time where I had most of my panic attacks because we've built one company data business, which was fully subscriptions, all in Stripe. And every day I thought, so it's so amazing. So even if I stop with this business, every month I have the subscriptions. What could happen? And that's what I do every day in business. I see potential risks. What if Stripe blocks me? Oh, everything is gone, basically. Everything is gone. So I really needed to build a new, good backup solution and learn about this. And I thought I can find a second payment aggregator, but the problem is they are most of the time just not on the same level because they don't have the dynamic currency exchange. They have all the different, like all the integrations. It's just not on the same level. And then I will have the same issues again. And then I figured out there's another solution, and these are merchant service providers, which are companies. They take your documents and they onboard you directly with the acquiring banks. So there's nobody in between. You're directly with the acquiring bank, and you have your own MIT. And of course, this is more stable. And these merchant service providers can even onboard you with 2 or 3 banks. And this was, in most of our businesses, the only long-term solution. The same with banking. If you make too much money, you just can't rely on this. Fintechs or aggregators, you need a proper, stable solution. But then I realized, and you can write it into the comment, guys, and if you know anybody, there are no good merchant service providers because they're all focused on the high-risk industry. And this was funny, especially 2 years ago in front of our office. He's always the affiliate world. And my team went there, and I asked, how was the affiliate world and how were the payment providers there? And they said, this is all like shady money laundering, strange gray zone stuff. And that's also my experience. Nobody there works professional. And then it's easy. We just need to use our Islamic company principles. Then let's do it with Ihsan, with excellence. And this is how the private processing idea got basically born, because I saw the gap. And number 2, because, like I said, the same issue is in banking. I had this fintech bank accounts, and also they are perfect to get started. And you probably realize this. If you set up a US LLC, the easiest way is to get started with Mercury, Relay, with Wise, with Slash, and so on. But no billion-dollar companies using them. So how are they doing it? They are using local banks. And I figured out how this works. So I started with private banking in the US, in Switzerland, in Singapore, here in the UAE. And I realized the number 1 difference is the support. And this is another disadvantage of these payment aggregators and also the fintech banks. There's only an online chat, which means how can you feel safe with your money? Imagine, I give you now $100 million. Do you want to put it all there? Or do you want to put it on 3 private banks? There's the branch, you know the banker, not saying they're all good, but at least you feel more safe, which is a plus immediately because you have peace of mind. So I realized the number 1 difference is the support. I get treated like a king. They open the door for me. Hello, sir. What do you want to drink? If you have issues, your banker calls you. No worries, I take care of all of it. There's no, hey, do this, send me this documents. The private banker takes care of it. They help you with all of this. And again, no solution like this in payment processing. And this is how private processing got born. And the rest is history, basically. Private processing we used it for ourselves because we never had payment processing issues again. And that the market needs it was just overwhelming. That was one day in the evening, I filmed a video at 10 in the evening about private processing. Yeah, and since then the inquiries were insane. Private processing is just nothing where we can approve everybody because there are a lot of requirements. But we realized the impact, it's a big need. Everybody needs it in the e-commerce industry. And the impact is great on the world because if we help the wealthiest e-commerce entrepreneurs, we help them to make more money, and we build the most righteous community, we can have a huge impact to the world. And if you see the practical steps, then it's easy to build a billion-dollar company. But only if you're on this level. And this takes years and years of sacrifice and work and experience. So this is the history of private processing.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the explanation, and it cleared up a few things for me because I know I've had a couple of conversations with you now and heard you use these terms, but it isn't always super clear to me, like exactly the difference and how it works. And obviously, most people, like you say, when they do get into a new business, will use a fintech bank, which is great. But I guess, like you're saying, there's another added level of security or maybe even accountability with regards to banking when you're using a local bank or private processor. So clearly there is a need for it. And being in e-commerce myself, as you know, there are many times where other people get shut down. You hear it often, and it's always a worry in the back of your mind. Like you said, okay, I've got all these subscriptions running through Stripe. if they shut me down for whatever reason, then what's my alternative? What's my backup? So it is a real need and a real problem in the e-commerce industry, and I'm sure many as well, because I gave an example of where I'm selling information and education and that, where you're processing high ticket payments online and they're getting declined. So there's all these little issues, regardless of the industry. There's something that is always in the back of your mind of, okay, how am I actually going to get this payment through? And as someone that you know, sells products and sells information, I think maybe you'll agree, but I wouldn't have thought like getting the money and keeping your money safe should be something that you should be worried about. I feel like there should be a solution for that, and I think maybe that's what you're working on and trying to build. Am I right?
Yeah, so what I realized this year, and this was surprising for us, so also with the bank account opening, right? So depending on the client type, depending on the country, we needed to find even a signer basically in the US as a manager for some companies, because otherwise they just couldn't get this level of banking payment processing without spending time there. And we help to manage all of this because we have the nitty-gritty experience in the daily banking. When does a wire get flagged? Because even with private banking, this is how the banking world works. It's not the Wild West Switzerland 100 years ago where you just don't care and do what you want. No country can act like this anymore. So there are certain systems why wires still get flagged or why certain things don't work. And we manage these bank accounts. And my team was always surprised in the beginning how people trust us that they instantly, we have e-commerce clients. It's interesting, most young e-commerce clients, they don't do anything. They just do the business and keep the cash on the bank account. They send all their $10 million to the bank account. And since then, they keep it on the bank account as a bank balance. And we were always like the team. For me, it was because it's how it is. If you're used to money, for you, it's like, you know, like somebody trusts you with a chewing gum, basically. It's like, and now what? But if you're not used to this, it's a surprise for you. And then I realized, why is it? And then I also realized, why do most financial, so in every industry, there are different reasons why businesses fail. And the number one reason why financial businesses fail is simply because the owners or the team, they don't have the right values, they are not trustworthy, and sooner or earlier they go crazy. And if you have, that's why where I felt the need of this Islamic principles, because if you believe that there's a day of judgment and a hereafter and you will be judged, you just can't like think, maybe I will burn in hell, but I need a new Richard Milley. You can't think like this. But if you don't have these values, these core values, who tells you that it's wrong, basically? And if you look at what happens with most crypto companies? Either the founder is dead somehow, and the key is somewhere, another Chinese guy has the key and all the crypto is gone, or another guy hacked them and all the money is gone. Happens with 80% of crypto companies. They all end up being a scam. Most investment funds. And this is the case with most financial companies, because I feel that most of these founders, they are just not created for this, to be flooded with money. Because it is true to some degree, once you have a certain amount of money, it's like a sink and it's just not stopping. And you get flooded with money. And it's really true, the more money you have, the more it happens. And the bigger the scale, because now come people who have 100 million and they trust you. Before you didn't know how to generate $100,000. It's like crazy, it's a dream imagination. And I feel that it's just because of trust. Because I know I'm stable. Like I can manage. This is why Warren Buffett is still in the game, you know, because he doesn't care. And I think the trust is important, and that's what we really bring to the table. And we just have a different approach. And this is how business always works. And I think that's what most people should do more, to do the contrary, to be a contrarian, to do the opposite of what everybody does. And you're not doing it enough. Most of you are not doing enough. And because now I'm basically like the oracle in e-commerce, so I could see like who makes a lot of money, who doesn't make a lot of money. Everybody is working hard. But one reason why people are more successful is because they are doing what nobody does. And I'm not talking about this motivational nonsense. Work when everybody is tired, study when people are partying. These are the basics. but I'm talking about the business strategy. And with every company that we have, we do the opposite, because that's how you create value. That's how you can really contribute to society. And this will be more important every single year from now on, because number one, and this is also a reason why you should never rest, because changes are faster and faster and faster now. With AI, New World Order, a lot of things are changing. And especially now in this world, I feel that in business, being mentally stable is already a superpower, especially over 20 years. Because I saw the people making a lot of money, then getting drug addicted, or being only focused on hoes, or just being in this loop of more shallow things, or becoming depressed. So mental stability is already like a superpower today. And I feel it's a superpower to stand out. And if you look at why is it more important nowadays? Because now almost every human becomes the same. You wake up, you get bombarded with certain news, which are only there to create a certain emotion in you. It brings nothing to your life. It doesn't help you with anything in your life. And yeah, sometimes one time per week, read the newspapers and the news, but not on a daily basis. Because now you don't wake up and think about building something huge like we do. Now you think about what happened in one country, you are angry, now you hate this nationality, this religion. It's all created for purpose. This hate, it distracts you from your life. And there are so many distractions nowadays. And with social media, with news, it just creates that everybody thinks a certain way. With AI, it becomes even more. That's why we said today for fun, it's the information that we reveal here is not ChatGPT, it's Aziz VIP. The more life experience you have, and the more you do contrary, the more you're out of this matrix, the more you can contribute to society. And I always thought this, because I always felt that when I spent a lot of time alone, secluded from everything, only then I had these game-changing ideas. And for me then it's always interesting if you do your own research, and that's what Muslims need to do, that the revelation of the Quran, like I told you, was exactly the same. So you need to spend time alone. It's called freedom of thought. And if you are able to create your own conclusions, that's the best. And that's what you need in business. Or do you think Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg or all the other billionaires, and I'm only using them as a business example, because if you talk about business, you need to choose the best people in business. If you talk about religion, choose the best people there. If you want advice for your family relationships, choose the most successful people there. But for business, these people definitely didn't follow the herd.
Yeah.
If you look at their whole biography, their whole life. And if you see a clear path and you're convinced of it, again, that's why you need to be an istikama, who stays on the right path no matter what. And if there's people who speak against this, then it's even better. And sometimes this takes longer. So we do the social media here, and we could do all the bullshit which works on social media. Improve the titles, the recent trends. This is what works. But I wouldn't do this. Then I'm the same social media influencer marionette, like all these idiots. I can't even see how they differentiate between each other. It's all the same. Yeah, they get views, but they even don't make a lot of money with it. If you look at us, we don't need to care about views if one client sends us $100 million. If one client generates us $100 million. So we only need a few right people, and this only works if the team always asks me, is there other competition or people that you know? I think I really don't know. I don't even consume anybody, because on the level where I am, I can only listen either to the top billionaires, which usually don't create any content, or I can, in Islam, listen to a few scholars. So I can't even watch to this nonsense. What do these influencers do? Most of them. Just research and then pump out this content. But if what we do here is we just share real, valuable life information in a maybe strange mix, because that's me. I grew up in Germany, I'm Muslim Revert, I live in different countries, I have different businesses, but that's exactly what helps me. And that's why we attract good people, because there were actually people who were thinking about the same and had the same issue. And yeah, all these things, this takes much longer, this approach, because you can't take from a specific trend or something specific which is already working. It's like walking in the snow, and if you just follow the crowd, it's easy to walk. But now you walk in this Siberia, Antarctica, the path that nobody walks, it's crazy slow in the beginning. But once you achieve this mountain, you are alone there.
Yeah.
And this is probably one of the best business advices that I would give to younger self of me. Don't do what the others do.
Yeah. Well, we've almost kind of done a full circle there, because as I said earlier, you're at a position now where you're innovating. You're doing something completely different, and you're doing it in a way that stands out against the rest of the market. And you are right. I think a lot of people do what's already there because they don't see past what is already there, or they can't think past what the current solution is. For example, with payment processing or with banking, or any example for that matter, you typically tend to look at what the market is doing and accept it for what it is. But that's the difference between acceptance and then figuring out a real solution past that point and innovating and improving. But you are right, we live very much in like a distracted world now, with notifications, emails, phone calls. No matter what it is, everything is a distraction from a vision or something that you're working on, such as this. And there's a book I've read. I don't actually read that much. I should probably read a little bit more. But it's called Deep Work, and in there they talk about the importance of, you know it?
Yes, yes.
The importance of secluding yourself somewhere, no phone, no emails. You know, it was back in the day, I think the example they provide in the book about this guy, I can't remember his name, but he would seclude himself. He was only contactable via letter, you know, while he was doing deep work and really innovating and inventing in some senses. So I know the value in deep work and just secluding yourself, because we live in very much a distracted world, and it's very easy to accept things for what they are, or listen to external influences that actually take you away from achieving something that you are maybe destined to achieve or actually have the ability to achieve. But instead what happens is you settle for mediocrity because you do not yet see the opportunity, you do not believe it's possible. A bit like what you said with the bank, everything is the right time now. Previously it was not, you didn't have the funds or you didn't quite have the experience yet. But having taken the time to deal with and help a lot of people who are in e-commerce and other industries with all of the things that you have done, you've now in some sense like accumulated the skill set that you need, and of course the funds, which is a big part of it, to now build out what is an actual solution and that is different from the market by going against the grain. So I think we've almost done a full circle there of the Islamic principles, where you got the idea from how you're leveraging your experience in private processing and banking to now really bring something different to the market. And I'm excited to see, you know, where it comes to. Like you mentioned, the next maybe 2-3 years will be corporate only, but like you say, I think that's the sort of people that you want to serve, at least initially, because they're the business owners, they're the people with the cash flow, the people that really need the solution and that are going to be able to bring in more prospective clients for you. So by starting at the top down, you'll then be able to go, once you've got a finalized product, and spread it to the wider market in a way that's already been battle tested and works.
Yeah, so it's also a good example, because this is really a big issue that we always think it is boxes. And if you look at this industry, and it's so easy if you see things black and white. So I ask myself, is there a good solution out there? I don't know any solution. Should I ask other people now? They will find something somehow, like, no, look, there is somebody. If I'm in this industry and I don't know it, it doesn't matter. There is nothing properly, you know. You can't think about cars and not know Bugatti or Rolls-Royce. But if most people wouldn't know it, then there's a big gap in the market. And then now people could think, okay, but to do something like this, then you also need to be a tech guy and so on. But what if I'm the opposite? Because that's the reason for this issue, for example. Because why do all these people don't give proper support? Because that's how they want to be. They are in Silicon Valley, drink their kombucha, they want to be hip. That's how they see themselves. They don't see themselves, hey, I give like proper support or whatever. And then you have maybe this private banking industry, and also the local banks have a lot of disadvantages, and they think only old school. Hey, I'm a private bank, why? And this is what I realized in the beginning, because I was trying all banks in the world. And here the Islamic banks, I told them, why you don't improve this? They said, we are old school, we have our few oil companies, why do we need this app? So everybody thinks in the box. But what is if you mix this and think, you know, then I will build this hip Silicon Valley stuff, but in a suit and old school with private banking support. And then you can mix both ideas and can create more value. And this is the same with this Islamic Principles. Before I converted, I was a little bit scared because I thought, okay, now if I only think about the hereafter, I will be distracted from business and can focus less on business. But it was the opposite, because I directly found the right informations, which actually extremely helped me to build better business partners, better client relationships, find better employees, to have an even better mindset, which I don't need to create out of thin air, like most of these company values. We are innovators, we are modern, but you can rely on what's actually like real. And if you mix all this, it's normally the best. It's what I really learned, and that's also how you need to create a good company culture. Because even if you look at old empires, for example, the best, I mean, I'm a fan of the Ottoman Empire, that's why I have the sword here and everything. Why was the Ottoman Empire such a huge, successful Islamic empire? Because there were a lot of different nationalities, ethnicities. People could raise in their status if they delivered results. So they were keeping their core values, but they were open to new ideas. And I also feel that in the team, for example, you hire people from Asia, they are perfect, they are quiet, they are nice, they are friendly, but on average, the Asians don't share aggressively what they really think. Then we have Arabs from different nationalities who maybe pump out more what they think about the other person or what they believe in. Then we have Europeans who, let's say, German quality. German quality is the best, that's how it is. Germans work, I mean, that's what I really see now when I just reflect and I see the Germans in our team being on time, working in detail. It's the German quality. But we also need British people, because otherwise we all speak German-English accent. So, and then sometimes it's difficult to mix all of this, but that's how the outcome is. It's the best. Because there can't be a person which is hardcore creative and hardcore structured. So the best is to combine both. To combine the calm person with the person who just pumps out whatever he thinks and what's going on in the company. That's how you really create. That's how you innovate. So think about the out of the box and just do it.
For sure. I think everyone has a slightly different perspective based on their experience, and I see what you're saying about bringing in people from different experience, different background, nationality, whatever it is, because perspective is something that's unique to the individual, and maybe certain cultures may share certain perspectives based on their culture, where they've been born, where they've grown up, but everyone can offer something slightly different. And if you're going to do something that's really going to change the world, like building a bank or combining new tech with old local banks and finding somewhere that meets in the middle, then you're going to only benefit from these different perspectives, because ultimately you're going to be serving all of these people, right?
Yes, and I think for me it really helps to remind me every day that I will die. So all of the small things anyways doesn't matter. And so I'm born here basically, and I can, at the end, you will be remembered for a few things. Most people are not remembered at all, maybe for eating chips on the couch or something, But there are only a few things you can do in your life. And I feel like the first step is to understand this for yourself, like what's actually my position here in this world, and to stick to it. And with a bank, for example, here, usually also, there are only a few paths. You have the fintech banks, which are fully tech, great app, but your money is not safe, no support, and no rich person uses this. Or you have the local banks, which the money is more safe for sure, You can easily put 100 million on JP Morgan and not worry. But they work old school, and they are probably the best ones. But most local banks are like, hey, come to the branch here. So you can't do anything internationally. You can't add employees to your online banking. All the modern stuff doesn't work, but your money is safe. So why not combining both? That's what we did. The proper bank, proper support, or what we are building, and then we just pay the same people who have built the best fintech banks. So we have the same tech part as these banks, and we have the support, and we have the quality and the safety. Then are other issues which you usually should think about later on. Once you have $10 million or more, you think, what happens actually with your money? And that was the main reason why I always said, don't pay taxes. We'd help to set up a tax-free company, because all the wars are just funded by taxpayers. That's it. And so basically, it's the worst thing you can do. Pay those taxes to death. And that's also where we innovate regarding on, we use this money for righteous purposes, but of course the numbers also need to match up, and you need the returns. And I think there's just nobody, or not many people, who are able to combine these two. The same, like I told you, the main issue is that many people think I need to be either religious and not do anything else, or I need to be a cold-blooded capitalistic monster and nothing is in between. Or I can't build a family because I have to focus on work. But if you do things right, but you can't follow any of this conventional wisdom, you can actually combine all these things and it works even better. But this doesn't work by following these regular paths. Or also here with the bank, we were thinking a long time about should it be an Islamic bank, a fintech bank, a regular bank? And it's so hard because then you are in one niche, which means the fintech bank, you don't have the support. Islamic banking, it's really difficult because number one, all the international transactions from many countries get flagged. Number two, it's so hard to define what's really Islamic. And we also don't want to be the local bank. So again, let's combine all. And that's how life is beautiful, because there are so many different things that you need to learn, where you need to develop. And I don't think that it needs to be black and white, that you need to choose between good and bad. Because if you're an istikama who stays on the right path no matter what, you can have all of this. You can be surrounded by righteous people with the right value who make money. You can live in a capitalistic country and be happy. You can have a lot of money and do more good things. But for this, you really need to think out of the box. And if I need to boil it down to a few things which help everybody, and this is all my ideology, number one is the surrounding. That's why I'm always promoting move to Dubai, because it's practical and you can be surrounded with us, and your mindset can't just stay the same. It's impossible. So the surrounding of people is important. The community is important. That's why we build such a good community. But real communities, real friendship only works with transactions every day. My good old friends who are not doing business, I have nothing in common with them anymore. With my business partner, we are in contact every day because we have things that we need to talk about. And that's why we are in such direct contact with our clients, because we manage everything for them. So every year, if our clients need to prolong their US LLC, their UAE company, UAE residency, they need to work with us. When it comes to the banking management, it's basically daily contact. When it comes to the payment processing, it's not that it's done one time and there's never any work to do. With private processing, it's updated every day. That's also what we realized. We update the bank statements and the company documents every day in private processing, and then you always have 3 backups. And if you fail for whatever reason, you have only 2 backups, and we build a new possibility basically. So we are always in contact. And then everybody makes a lot of money, influences each other positively, And then again, you're more happy and then you again feel like you want to level up more.
Yeah.
Because you see what's possible. That's also why we created one term here, which I call Digital Islamic Golden Age. What I mean by this is, I think we can create a golden age where people with the right values can have a lot of power. And the first step to achieve this is just awareness. And that's what we can do here, and that's why we just focus on 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, because we just want to show that it's possible to actually build like billion-dollar companies, and that's how we have a lot of scale. So I know I'm talking in all kind of directions. I have just a lot to say here.
Yeah, I would add to that when you're talking about finding your purpose, fulfillment, seeing opportunity, because I can speak firsthand of what Dubai has done for me, you know, and you know, you're from Germany, I'm from the UK, you know what these places are like. It's very different, it's very structured. You know, there is a certain path that is the typical route that you would tend to follow. But I was blessed with the opportunity to discover e-commerce and doing things online, and saw a lot of the people that I looked up to, influential people, moving out here, and I figured there must be something here. Why are all these people that I look up to, why are they all coming to Dubai? What is it about this place? Not just the you know, the tax friendliness and the opportunity, but also just the people that you're surrounded by. If all of the people that I look up to are going there must be something about it. And my life has changed only in positive ways since relocating here. You know, everything has been moving in the right direction, but not small steps either. Like, things move fast here, and if you're the sort of person that wants to put yourself in a place where you want to level up, where you want to keep being the best version of yourself, this is probably, I mean, look, I'm not massively traveled, but I would say this is the best place to do it for me. I couldn't think of being anywhere else at this stage in my life. And it's done great things for me, not just financially like you're saying, but in many different areas of life, in my health, wealth, status, happiness, marriage. I'm engaged now, I'm going to be getting married. So like every area of my life has improved since being here. And that was, you know, a lot of things that not necessarily I lacked when I lived in the UK, but it's just a very different environment. There's not as much opportunity, there's not as many people doing the things that you're talking about. And I think that's really what it's all about, just seeing what is possible. Once you see it with your own eyes, you know that you've then got a target, a goal to work towards, a bit like you said with the bank or the private processing. Once you have a plan, it's very easy because you just break it down into the daily habits. You know you're going to get there. It's almost impossible not to get there if you just set the plan, set the micro goals, and just keep working towards it. And then the daily habits compound, and before you know it, that thing that was an opportunity that you were looking at the distance, you've then achieved it, you know, and then it's the next thing and the next thing, or you then leverage that status that you've gained or that wealth that you've gained to then improve other areas of your life, your health, your wealth, looking after your family. So it's one big circle, it's all attached. And like you're saying, you don't have to just be capitalist or religious. I do believe that in the way that we live now, with the opportunity that there is, especially in this location here in Dubai, that you can work towards all of it, you know. It just takes some time and a plan, but as if you stick to it, it's possible.
Yeah, so how I do it, now it's October. Now for the next 8 months, I will just lock down and focus. There's nothing for me to reflect, basically, to think about. It's just robot mode. And then every summer I reflect. And there's also billionaire habit. If you look, I mean, even let's say Bill Gates, he has this famous Think Weeks where for 1 week he's just sitting with his books and just reading and has no contact to anybody. And I always feel like commit to something, then do it for some period, and then reflect again. And then in this reflecting period, which is once a year in summer, I always make normally drastic changes if I see that they make sense. And moving to a new place is obviously the easiest drastic change. And which place is the best? I think you can see it black and white, and you just need to make a list. If you want to make the most amount of money and have the most capitalistic surrounding, then you have New York, you have Dubai, you have now Shenzhen probably, and a few other cities. And then you just need to see what makes most sense for you. But every capitalistic place has other disadvantages. If you want to optimize, let's say for me, I always think, what's the most Islamic place? Then you have like Saudi Arabia, For me, Istanbul, some parts are good. Oman or Qatar is better than here. But the hardcore capitalistic aspect is not that much. Then you have other places which are great for family, depending on how you imagine a family. For example, for me, I just grew up in a mini village in Germany. I just imagine a family needs to be also like this, like greenery, simple, not in Dubai.
Yeah.
If you can combine it, it's great. It's up to you. Or you think I just commit here for a few years, and then maybe during this period you develop again, and then you have new priorities. And I was a totally different person when I moved here. And now, if I have Dubai or not, honestly, for me, it doesn't make such a big difference. But a few years ago, to build a perfect mindset and to have like a real home, basically, where I can build a real community. And it's sharks here. And it's not the ultimate life quality if you don't have money. So you're forced to level up, and it's the only thing you think about. And of course, if you have the possibility, the best way is to do something like this for a period of time, or as long as possible, basically. Because the more focus you have, the more results you have, basically. It's that simple.
For sure.
And you realize in Dubai that money is abundant. This is really something where what helped me. I think this is the number one thing which helped me. Because you see how expensive things are. Like I shared with you today, I was checking villas for me in Jumeirah Bay Island, $400 million. I was checking this Marsa Al Arab, dirham, sorry, 400 million dirham. Then I checked the most expensive villa in Dubai Hills was like 200 million dirham. And there are people building it and people buying it. There was some restaurant here. There was a rice bowl with salmon and ikura. It was like $3,000. I thought, what is in this fucking rice? For sure I can buy the same in Asia for $20. But somebody does it and somebody buys it. So the money is abundant, and here you just get exposed to much more money, much more cultures, much more influences overall. And what you make out of it, it's up to you. There are some people who move to Dubai, and after some time they say, it's just dry, it's busy, I don't like it. And all of this, there's always a certain truth behind it, right? There are no forests here. It's not empty. But it helps you if you know that you're only looking for specific things. If you're only looking for this main KPI. Look, the only reason I'm here, it's no taxes. I want to level up in business. Then you can't be disappointed. And I feel that's what life is all about. We all get exposed to different experiences. And the result is based on how you filter it and what you make out of it. And the more you can stay on track and only use the good part of it, the more you will get. It was yesterday my hairdresser told me, hey, I met this one guy who scammed you or something, you know, in the past. It's normal if you have a lot of money, and the biggest accelerator to get scammed is if you have money and social media, because having reach and money exposes you even more, while before I had money but I just wearing regular clothes and didn't care. And I got scammed a few times here in the beginning. And he said, so what will you do now with this guy? I said, bro, this is the norm for me. Like 80% of people who want to squeeze something out of you. Boop, buy, and that's it. No negative emotion, new learning. And then there are other people who, with money, who get, I see this with many people, they're totally in this position, like everybody wants to fuck me up. I can't trust anybody. And what's this for life? That's also what you learn when you're at the top. Not all people with money are the same. They all have a totally different personal life, personal view, and even most billionaires are failures in their personal life if you really research about their life. That's why you only need to take the billionaire advice from the billionaires. Why you need to take other advice from others. And with living in a place, it's the same to a certain degree. Because I have multiple homes around the world, and there is no place which can totally combine everything. It's just based on what are you looking for. And Dubai definitely helps. one of the best places in the world to make a lot of money. If you're American, probably New York is better. But for us people from Europe, especially in UK, I think it's almost like a no-brainer. It's like everybody just moving to the whole British community of businesses anyways in the UAE. So it's even more easy.
Yeah, definitely. When you were going through all of that and just explaining Dubai, I kind of think we've both had a similar experience here. And you were talking about, depending on what you're working towards, are you looking to gain wealth? Are you looking for opportunity? And I often say that I think I go through certain phases in life. And at this phase of my life, those are the things that I guess I am working towards. Next year I'll be 30. I want to make sure I'm in a good position, start working towards having children, God willing, all of this kind of stuff. So, we'll keep working towards all of that. And that will be a new phase of my life. Maybe I'll find somewhere else that will be located, that will be better suited to having children perhaps, or maybe I'll stay here. I don't know, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But for now, for the things that I'm working towards, everything that I'm doing just makes sense to be kind of stabilized here. But having spoke to you and kind of heard about the things that you're doing and the way that you're innovating and looking to kind of change the industry, where do you sort of see things being for Ihsan over the next few years? Like, what are we working towards?
So my main focus is obviously Ihsan Bank and private processing. Private processing is improving every single day because private processing is there. It's real. Almost for 1 year now. How it started, we basically just connected people directly with the acquiring banks like a regular merchant service provider, but with German quality, with private banking support. Just doing things properly. That's why it's even nice. That's also what you learn here in Dubai. You see that it's all expensive and you think they can't even do these things properly, So basically I just need to be on time, make things good. And it is. It's 50% of the business. And now we are building a really great platform, the in-house solution. And we're just improving the solution every single day. And I definitely believe that every e-commerce entrepreneur, but also in the future, every big software entrepreneur will use private processing because it's really a no-brainer. It doesn't make any sense, basically. That's at least how you should do business. How I see business is, in every part of your business, you should at least have a backup. It's the base of every business. If there's one pillar which falls and your business is struggling, this is not a business. That's why I'm always telling you, in e-com, do your ads, scale your ads, but also have affiliates, also have SEO blogs, also have other traffic sources. That's what I'm telling you. You can't just have one employee for all of your things, You need to have a good team. That's why I'm telling you, even if you use the fintechs, have a local bank as a backup. And the same is for private processing. And because there is no alternative as a backup, even if you just consider it as a backup for now, and that's how you should start with private processing, by the way, because what's the best time to get approved for private processing? Because many people ask us, of course, what are the rates, which countries, what can I expect? Will there be money on hold, or do I need to put like 5% down, whatever? And it all depends mostly on you, because the same like private banks, they can help you, but only if you have money, basically. And the same is with private processing. So you should apply for private processing when the business is running perfectly. Your payment aggregators are working perfectly, so you have good processing statements, good bank statements. And we always say as a guideline, but there are always exemptions, the best is if you make 500K per month and have 500K on your bank account. You can start earlier, but this should be the goal. And if you reach this number, directly apply a private processing, because that's when private processing can get you the best acquiring banks, can get you the private jet, the Bugatti of the private banking, and not the Nissan or the low-level version. But if your bank statements, processing statements are already bad, your money is already on hold, it's already difficult. So the best is to always apply when everything is working smoothly. And then it, step by step, becomes automatically the first option. But at least have it as a backup. And I really see that not all the losers there will use private processing because they can't, but the proper e-commerce entrepreneurs, the proper entrepreneurs overall, in the digital Islamic golden age, everybody will use private processing. That's what I see. That's what I believe in. And the market shows us that it's right. And with the bank, it's even bigger scale. I feel with private processing, we will already have a lot of influence and impact. Because, like I said, business is a business. I need to see that it makes money and that everything works. But I'm mostly guided by how much positive impact does it have on the world. But I feel that if we empower the right entrepreneurs with the necessary tools which are necessary, this has big scale. And with the bank, we do exactly the same. So it's not that these are all different companies. It's basically all one circle of excellence. It's not I'm selling socks and I'm selling beer. Yeah. And now this is all one circle, which means the wealth consulting clients should become also the private processing clients and should also use our bank. And that's why we start with B2B with the bank. Number one, because it's practical. Like I said, with wealth consulting, most clients have their UAE residency but use a company in the US or in Hong Kong. 100% of clients, basically. Then the best of them use private processing because it's already high entry barrier. And then the same clients will later on use our bank. Because what we do now with the bank account opening is we can always only accept maybe 2 clients per month because we don't have any scalable solution. We basically just work with the bank, we manage it, we stand in between and do this perfect. And then also every team member of us can also manage a few of these clients. But if we have our own bank, it's really scalable. And there's no reason to not switch to our bank, basically. And this will be then the next step, inshallah, next year, because it looks good that the solution is, we achieve it, basically. And then long term will be B2C with the bank. And there the main vision is that every righteous person in the world has our bank card and can use it. And that there's not one reason to use the alternative. And this is the main problem with the financial industry. It doesn't matter if it's payment processing, if it's investment funds, if it's banks. Watch the news, the bad things which are happening in the world. Then look at these financial companies where they invest in or who owns them. And then there's a direct link. And then there's the problem that people say, because we're all humans, I can't sabotage and not use all of them. Especially in business. A businessman needs to look, if this bank works better, this payment processing solution works better, this investment fund gives you more returns, I just use them. But we want that there's a righteous version of all of this and that there's not one reason to not use us, because we deliver at least on the same level. And the bigger we get, the harder it will be. And I see there are only a few billionaires left. A few days ago, I watched the interview of Pavel Durov, who also lives here in Dubai. I think he's not the richest person here in Dubai. He is like this. Every government wants to get the data out of Telegram and wants to do bad things. But you can just not do it. But I don't see any of these financial companies there. And the bigger we get, the more threats there will come. It's automatically. But this is the video here, and we can watch it in a few years. We need to stay on the right path. So it's a vision which is until the end of my life, and it won't be achieved in my lifetime. If you look at big empires, the person which started the empire, it was maybe the 10th generation where the empire was at its peak. Doesn't matter if it was Romans, Ottoman Empire. If you look at the banking dynasties, which are mostly not good influence anyways, but they have their own vision. Maybe they just pray to the devil and they think this is their purpose. But also these banking dynasties, they were not at the peak in the first generation. It was the 3rd or 4th generation. And that's what I see here. So there's more than enough that we need to do in the lifetime and even more in the future generations, inshallah. And with this vision, by the way, it's really nice to attract the right people. For the business by itself here, if we were talking today about business, it would have been much more helpful to not go left and right and this life philosophy. It would convert instantly better if we would have only talked about private processing is the best, the bank will be the best, wealth consulting is the best. But we have an important goal here, which is to only attract the right clients. We have an important goal to only attract the right employees. And for this, there's no other way than always pushing our values so that only the people with these values come to us and the rest should go to the competition. And if the competition goes to us and wants to steal clients, steal employees, it will be impossible. And it is impossible because what can they do? Give more salary maybe, that's it. But everybody of us is not only here for the salary, but for everything else, for a life mission. And if you have all of this, if the money is in place and you have the life mission and the nice surrounding, it's perfect. And then work is not work, investing is not investing. And this is why we have intention in our principles, because in Islam it's explained that you can be with a woman and it can be haram or halal. You can make business and it can bring you a lot of positive deeds and points in your life. Or it can bring you all the negatives. So what's the difference between this work and this relationship and this? It's the same or not? It's just the intention. And if you have relationships, marriage, business, investments with the right intention, the nice thing is from Islamic perspective, and it's a very, very similar concept in Christianity, of course, you get positive deeds every single day, which will be forever. But the second advantage is it also makes you more happy right now. This is what's nice. Because this barakah, these blessings, you feel this on the same day. You can't get the same amount of happiness from materialistic things than doing really good things in this world. If you really solve all the issues of a person, if you really help people. And it's nice to understand that this is also not contrary, that you can actually combine both. And money is the number one vehicle that we have. And the issue is just that too many people have the money with negative intentions. And that's why we always pronounce these values, because we want the people with money with good intentions, because I can't change all industries in the world, all countries in the world, but we could have the 10 or 20 most influential people from every country as a client, and they can do it for each respective country. And you have this choice in business. You can go this route or directly focus on getting 1 billion clients, but there needs to be one of these two routes. Also in e-commerce. It's in every business. In e-commerce, either it's really for the masses or a few people which have a lot of money. With selling company data, and I'm always circling back between all this because it's all connected. It's not different parts. I see all of this is one. All the businesses are one. This all builds on each other. And my life builds on each other. A few weeks ago, we had, because I got featured in Forbes, and they asked me, do you maybe have other pictures? What do you wear in your free time? And I said, I don't have free time. This is me. It's me 24/7. Only Kandora sometimes, or gym clothes. But there is for me no difference. And this is the nicest existence that you can have. And again, if you repeat, you die today, imagine all these people come to your grave. Would they all say the same about you? Or would they all have a different picture of you? He was a really kind guy, the business partner, the employees. He was really a ruthless piece of shit. And many people are like this. They have different faces. And this is anyways not a nice existence. So not even talking about long term, it's in the right now. It's not a nice existence. But if you can really be convinced of your values, and these values, they are the same. I don't see that these are different values. If you're consistent usually, you're consistent with friendships, with your family, with business, with with your health, it's really hard to be consistent with one thing, inconsistent with another thing. And that's why I said track record is so important, because that's what you build in your life. And you build this for business partnerships, you build this as an employee, you build this to get approved for payment processing, you get this to get approved for banking, and maybe when you die later to get approved to be in the paradise. And if you focus on doing all of this, then I feel like your life is under control. And that's what we do. And that's the same that we apply for business. We want that for our clients, number one, with the things that we do, that everything is under control. That you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about taxes, don't need to worry about your residency, don't need to worry about your banking, don't need to worry about payment processing. And if you just do it every day, and you get good feedback every day, and not only good feedback, because it doesn't matter how good your business is, there are idiots who always find something to complain. But if you get mainly positive feedback every single day, then you continue anyways, and you grow anyways. And I always feel like, so what can happen then? You can either grow, or something happens that you didn't expect, but doesn't matter, doesn't change anything at all. It's a lot of people think that, okay, I see this many times. And again, with all spheres of life, people are married and then there are issues, and then you think, yeah, it's because at this period in life something changed. With friendships, with business partners, yeah, before we were good business partners, but then the business problems came and then we had these fights. With good employees, you were really good, but now the business is not working anymore. Rest in peace. We will never see each other again. So, and this is all a loser existence, because your life is based on circumstances coming to you instead of sticking to your values. If you are not attached to these results, and you need to be to some degree attached, but not fully, then these things stay anyways. And then you first attract the right people to go through this. Because then you have a woman who is not only attracted to the money, and that's why having a family here in Dubai is okay, but not meeting most women, because they're attracted to the money. That's why you need to attract the right business partners with the mindset. And that's why it's good to go through problems. And this is why how you see all of our values, how they always repeat each other. And this is the same with your clients, because also especially if you build a huge thing like this. In e-commerce, it was pretty easy for us. We had simple steps. First, training nutrition plans, then creating the product, and since then it's basically the same and just growing. If you build something like this here, a tech solution, something with AI, this can't be perfect in the beginning, and this will always improve. And this is not an issue, because that's what our clients know. Hey, with these guys, it gets better every single day. And if there's an issue, it's not the end of the world. There's no reason to ever stop working with them, and they will fix the issue. So it's not the circumstance, it's your general mindset. And it's the same with the team. And we did it in all of our companies this summer, because it was reflecting period. We fired in every company maybe 30% of employees. It's not a nice step, but it was mandatory so that the good people in the company are not negatively influenced, basically. And then, of course, a lot of people think it's because money issues or whatsoever. But I'm always telling to the best people, there can't be an issue why we shouldn't work together anymore. Because then we just reduce and continue and build again. Because you don't have this mindset of, now something doesn't work, okay, now everything in my life is fucked up, basically.
Yeah.
You just continue. And this is all like a snowball effect. This takes much longer to think this way, because you always need to think long term and not care about the short-term results that much, but it's just bulletproof. And then again, that's why I use it in business. We built a bulletproof banking, bulletproof payment processing setup, because I feel this is how I want to have a life. I want that everything is bulletproof. So doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. I don't care. I mean, we're all humans, of course. I will care about some things, but not much. If there's a war tomorrow here in the Middle East, that's why I'm always telling you it's nice if you're already established Dubai here, we can help you to build a second residency, or why we help clients to not only have personal banking here, but also in Singapore or US, at least to have a backup. And this is the same with everything. And this is one of our values, that everything is bulletproof. And I feel that everybody who really wants and thinks this way achieves it with us. And you don't achieve it if you have the wrong expectation. So it's obvious, doesn't matter how good we are, there are always people who, you know how it is, they always find something to complain. There are women in this world who will always complain, and you can be the king of the world. Jeff Bezos is divorced. There's a saying that if a good man meets a bad woman, the bad woman always wins. If a perfect businessman meets bad business, the bad business wins. So, but what you can really influence is this basics. And that's what people can get with us. So, and can people be disappointed if they work with private pros? How do most people get disappointed? People apply for private processing and we tell them, you don't make enough money yet.
Yeah.
And then there are 50% who are inspired. Oh yeah, I need to level up, bro. Why you don't have a business coaching? It's really much better than everything out there. And some people start to hate. So only the content is free for the brokies and the paid option is only for the rich? Yeah. But this rich guys also started from zero. And then sometimes you have people who, they just can't think even, nowadays people can't even think 2 months, 3 months long term. And we do refunds to every client that we don't like. It's a KPI of us. If we don't like them, just let's not approve them. Because we have enough leads. We do this content here, again, to attract the right people. It wouldn't be possible without contact. But the sales calls with us are nowadays more just filtering and rejecting. And every client who works with us, which also doesn't have proper behavior, we directly do the refund. And we had it's how it is if you do business. Clients who worked talked respectfully with me, but then disrespectful to one employee, or screaming, shouting, bad behavior, directly refund. And if you have an e-commerce business, you don't need to care. It's just automated, pump it out. If you have a software business, if it's only scale, you don't need to care. But for a business like this, it's really important for us. And this short term, again, brings us less money because we do refunds, which is less profitable basically. But in the long run, the team is happy. We feel we are building something great because even the haters, they get all in your head. Everybody who talks to you, it influences you. And the best is to just not hear about it at all. And there's different strategies people need to choose. And that's also, it's important to understand that it's different in every business. Selling company data, which is basically digital e-com, or general e-com, I think you don't need to care much. Just scale and that's it. But if you have a consulting business or a one-on-one business, most of these businesses are garbage, by the way, because they're not scalable, and most people anyways don't offer anything which has that much value and which everybody can copy in one day. But if you build something like us, it's just a really different business approach. And I feel that the people who work with us, they really appreciate us. Because I always say we don't need some followers. We need fans, hardcore fans. And these are the people who mostly follow the social media. but also the clients. I don't call them fans. It's like they are basically like brothers, like friends, like we are like an army who goes through the world, and that's how we approach it. And the right people really appreciate it. And I think this video will definitely help.
For sure.
That's also why I wanted to make this video, because I felt last time was really great vibe. And you can, if you make videos and if you talk to people, there are only two outcomes, by the way. You probably also realized. You can't say it in front of the camera, but there are only energy vampires or people who really give you all the energy. And if you make videos like this, and for team members in your team, you only want the people who really give the positive energy. You speak with them. I think I talked way too long here, you know? And just because of your, I think your aura basically, I felt like, oh yeah, it's nice. And then imagine there would be another person, and this is how it is, we are humans. And I wouldn't be on the same wave like this person. And this would, you feel this sometimes, you talk to people and you really feel like sucked out, like a grapefruit, old orange, nothing is left. And it's just the energy of these people. And this really helps to find the right people around you. You want these clients, especially if you work one-on-one with people. You want this type of business partners. You want this type of marriage. You want this type of friends. And if it's not the case, it's the answer. There's nothing else that you can tell yourself whatever you want. Every person who always felt negative, sooner or earlier, this was the truth.
Yeah.
And every person who always felt positive, it was great. Only the more money you make, because then everybody is nice to you, then you need to pay more attention. And then you need to start to pay more attention. Are these people there for short term? Because that's when you have money. Most people come to squeeze out of you long term. Or are these people there for you to build with you long term? And this is, again, it's with employees, with business partners, with marriage, and with companies. Because we could take all the money out of rich clients immediately. Or we just think, we also want to be with these people in 40 years, and their sons, and maybe my son and his son, they will do business in the future, and we are already gone. And this is a clear mindset. I think today was mostly mindset talk, but I think it can help many people.
Yeah, not just mindset, but also values, and I think that's the core principles in which this business, or the way you run your business, is built, is on the 5 Islamic principles that you've highlighted there. Excellence, moving with purity, intention, authenticity, things that I often associate with myself, just being the best version of myself, being genuine, being authentic. And I think maybe that's why that we do feel as though we get along, or you have felt the ability to just talk freely and express yourself, because I'm listening and I'm aligned with the things that you're saying, And I think that's really important, because like you're saying, even on a micro level, you're already seeing that happen. Where we met on the podcast previously, we spoke, we aligned on certain values, and therefore we've had the opportunity to connect again because of that feeling that we both had from the conversation, So that just goes to show that the things that you're talking about, the way in which you're building your company, it can work on a large scale as well. When you put out that content, showing yourself and showing the way that you view the world and the things that you value, you're going to naturally attract more people like yourself.
Yeah, and I think we had so many different topics. I think what we can do now is to break it down in practical steps for every viewer. I even forgot that we want to upload it on my channel. I always felt we uploaded for your channel.
You this time.
But it's good. So I think the first practical step that everybody can do today is write down your principles, your values. Because this helped me a lot to boil down the most important values. And I had a list of, I think, 90 values. And then I just looked at Islam. And then there were still so many, basically all values of me were the same. And then I thought, what starts with I? And I was just choosing these 5 values with I. And if you write these values down, it's good for you to know. And then, because you explained it really well, because positive energy, because we have the same values, then decide that life is too short to be in contact with anybody who doesn't have the same values. Because it's no chance that this has a positive influence on your life. even sometimes you think this way, maybe it's constructive, it's not constructive. Most billionaires are not so intelligent. They are just focused and don't get distracted from naysayers. Most people who are strong in their faith, they just don't get distracted. Most people who are married happily, it's only because they marry and stick with it, to make it short. And I think if you want to stick to something, stick to your values, and this is the first practical task for everybody. Write down your values, and if you want to use a service provider for financial services like us, look if these values align, and if not, paka, goodbye. You don't need to work with us. I don't want that you work with us. But if you have the right values, this is the best value exchange. If you are not married or you want to marry, write it all down. This is the easiest way, not all this confuse and emotion, and better that it's clear. Do we have the same values or not? Do we have the same goals or not? It's so easy, but nobody does it almost. Why? Because as a man, you need balls for this. Most people think you are strange because, again, you guys want to be a sheep in the herd. You don't want to stand out. But that's the really nice thing. So do the same in marriage. Do the same if you hire people in your company. Look at the track record. Look at this energy thing. But look at the values. Present the values. Because then it later on won't be a garbage company where everybody has like beef with each other. No, we are all aligned. And if not, now there's an issue in a marriage, or with the team members, or with your business partner, you can go down and say, look, you remember what I wrote down? We agreed that these are our values. What happened? It's a perfect reminder, but this is only possible if you write it down. And this could be a step for today. And I think it can change the life for everybody, because every sphere of life gets better. So first, the values. Second, what was your biggest learning for today? What could really help you or the viewer?
Values, staying aligned with your principles, which I guess kind of comes back to values, but also just surrounding yourself by people who are aligned with yourself as well. But I think a lot of what we spoke about was kind of overlapping in many ways, and it all kind of came back to values, principles. I guess the other thing would also be environment, which again kind of comes back to it. Just make sure you're in an environment where you can flourish, because you said it earlier, bad woman, good person, bad woman wins, bad business partner, good business partner, bad business partner wins. So it's just whether that be your location that you're in, whether that be someone that you're surrounded by, just make sure you're in an environment that you can flourish, that you can be the best version of yourself, because otherwise almost the opposite is always going to happen. You're not going to be able to move forward. You're going to have something constantly pulling you back. So that's people and location, and I guess maybe other things as well.
It's funny because my quote in Germany when I started as a fitness coach was, become the best version of yourself. I forgot about this quote, but it reminds me.
Funny you say that, because I've always said from a very young age, I always strive to be the best version of myself at everything that I do. And that doesn't mean having to be better than other people, but being the best version of myself, or giving the best. And I always think, if I'm not going to give the best at something, then why bother doing it at all? It doesn't align with something that I'm working towards, you know? So that's also something that, interestingly, I live by.
And it's a duty to become the best version of yourself. I mean, you are gifted with many things, and if you are judged by what you did in your life and you said, I just didn't want to, be better than somebody, this is unlogical. It doesn't mean that you say other people are bad. I even think that ego, too much ego at the wrong place, stops you from becoming the best version of yourself. I analyze this with people in business, the people who were more, let's say, nerds, who didn't care about what other people think. They are more successful. It's really how it is. It's really true. The introverts are much more successful, because now where we manage all the wealthy clients, I'm not an introvert. That's why everybody's in a different position. But they have it more easy because they just work, create the results, and that's it. And the cool people, they always want to look successful immediately. And that's why they never build something, because they all the time squeeze out the money to pretend something.
Yep.
And so that you always need to keep your face. You need to keep the status. It's the same with everything, with relationships, again, with every sphere of life. And I think that if you want to become the best version of yourself, it's not ego. It doesn't mean you are better, but you need to have a high standard of yourself. And if you have a high standard of yourself, the chance is that this becomes real. Mm-hmm. Because if you expect from yourself to make money, to help people, to look good, to be healthy, to be a good friend, to be a good influence of your surrounding, it's just really difficult to not become this person.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I guess I would finish it on that. You know?
That's right. So then we have writing down your values. We have measure your energy every day from people around you. If the energy is bad, something is wrong. Mm-hmm. And coffee energy, Adderall, Ritalin, modafinil, it helps, but not in the long run. Even then you have the negative energy. Yeah. And this is more important than constructive criticism whatsoever. If you can be in your bubble, stay in this bubble forever. And almost all criticism, fuck off. It is real. Imagine now, I could now find 100 examples, but that's why step one, you need to write it all down, because so that people around you know how to behave with you. And for me, it's a rule. I always tell to everybody around me, tell me something, but not like negative. Which means now somebody could tell me, you know, every financial advisor, I watched a video from America, that it's proven statistically that everybody in finances should be shaved. It creates more trust. You know, and that's why you see most people in finance are shaved. And now there are some people, especially like from Germany, bro, you always look like a terrorist, you know, shave your beard. Should I listen to this, or should I listen to people who's like, bro, this really stands out, do more of it? A lot of people come and say, you know, people in suit are arrogant. I only started with suits 1 year ago. If somebody tells me this, don't talk to me ever again. Be the person who tells me, hey, it's nice because nowadays almost nobody wears a suit. You stand out more. And this needs to be with everything, especially in business with big visions. Mm-hmm. So when you start in a new industry, and the best is, and it sounds strange, if you don't know much about this industry. And now you might think, how should that work? I built something in the oil industry and don't know enough about oil. I start in the whatever industry. Why is it better? Because when you start fresh, it's the most exciting period normally, 3 years, 5 years, where you learn everything about this industry. And now you just need to be in your bubble. Because now you are ignorant, you don't know anything. And this is the best approach that you have. That's why I always said the best, why we became more successful in e-com, because I didn't even know what this word means. Like, seriously. It's like, I want to sell supplements. I want to work with these bodybuilders. So you are so ignorant, and then it's just up to, there are two outcomes. Either people confuse you, now comes the 10-year guy, I'm 10 years in this industry, you know, what you plan will not work because I'm also a failure, and or there come other idiots who also don't know anything and say, bro, yeah, man, that's crazy, this company will work. And as long as you can stay in this ignorant bubble, the better for you. And if you learn in between, but the more you learn also, the less you will be interested in learning. That's why this period is extremely nice in business. So, energy, write down your values. Obviously, if you apply and can work with private processing, people can apply. If we have open slots for the bank account opening, there will be a link here. And give us one last thing which people can do practically
I
today.
wanted to just add on the end of what you were saying there about external influences, because we did touch on that in the podcast of just everyone being almost just suffocated with noise, news, notifications, it's in some senses suffocating. You look at your phone, you know, you've got all these WhatsApp messages, you've got this YouTube video has popped up, and it's just taxing on the actual capacity that you do have to be the best version of yourself. So I would loop back round fully on something we already touched on earlier today, and that's just eliminate all of the noise, a bit like you said. If you've got external people not even giving constructive criticism, but things that do not add in any way, but instead take away from, just eliminate that as best as possible. Stay clear on your vision, stay clear on your path. You know what you're working towards, set a long-term plan, build the daily habits, and just take it one step at a time. And that's the best way to do it. I take things the same way. I try to avoid getting external opinion or influence on something when I've already set a plan. I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm working towards. I don't want an opinion. I didn't ask for an opinion. I know what I'm working towards. That's the best way to do it. When I'm ready or when I need the next phase of learnings, then I will ask, hey bro, I see you've done this. I'd really like your insight on how I can apply this moving forward, having already built the foundation as per my own vision, because otherwise everyone's going to tell you something different. You have confliction, and then it makes it even more difficult to move forward. So I would say the last thing is just be very careful of all of this noise, all of these distractions, and I guess in summary from what you were saying is just be very careful who you allow to influence your decision making, because it may not always be the best thing for you.
And one last take, because it's also a summary of what we said. The rules and limits are all in your mind. And these things, these values and the vision, this is what actually changes your life. Not the rules, not the vehicle, not the short-term outcome. We have employees in our companies. They didn't came with any expectation, but at the end, if they see themselves as being part of the vision and I dedicate my life to this, they can achieve everything. And the people who stick to one job position based in these rules, they will stay in these rules. And in business, it's the same. If you know probably Grant Cardone, right? I followed him for many years. And you see in many topics, you really think like it's completely wrong. And many people criticize him, you know. And there was some interviews that I saw with Jordan Belfort. And then you see all the haters like, oh, he is so stupid. But I think if this would be true, then it's even more inspiration for you, because he just said for 10 years on YouTube, I will be billionaire, man. And look what he's built. He's much bigger than these people. So, and then you look, what did he do? He just kept this enthusiasm, this hype there, always. He didn't care about these small details.
No.
And if you ask for feedback from people, I mean, if you are really high level, you can't ask for feedback anyways. Because the only thing that I do is, if I need information, I look at statistics, I look at numbers, I can't have this confusion from other people. But if I want feedback from these people, I ask whichever person just kicks in most positive energy. So I asked my wife, she says, you're the best, like nobody can compete with you in the world. And then I ask with the people around me who are also in the vision, which are like today, and just for 10 hours, like enthusiastic, we take over the world. So, finishing the video, summarizing the practical steps for each one of you. Number 1, write down your values and kick out everybody who's not aligned with your values and stick to it forever until the end of your life. Number 2, think bigger and keep your positive energy. And the easiest steps are, if you're not in a good surrounding, move to a new country. Dubai is just easy with us with wealthconsulting.com. Takes you 1 week, but we also have other options. And number 2, just cut out all the noise. Try it for 1 year. Don't watch news. No phone if it's possible for you to do. No influence at all. Only influence which really pushes you. And everything else, you can just subscribe to the channel, work with us. And I think we will do a lot of more videos in the future, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. I mean, you gave away a lot of value there, I think more so than what you previously do. I've seen some of the videos on your YouTube channel, and I know you normally reserve a lot of this for your clients, so it was nice to hear more about your mindset, your vision, the things that you're working towards. It's definitely inspired me, and I'm looking forward to now having a conversation with you dedicated towards my business and how you might allow me to become not only more tax efficient, but thinking bigger and working towards getting private processing and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, I look forward to continuing our conversation off the camera. Thank you for your time today, and yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, so we usually don't disclose our clients, but I think we can do an interview in the future about your businesses,
For
inshallah.
sure.
Looking forward. Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
a
you
great
very much.
session.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.